Thank you so much for making time to come through for this presentation. My name is Glenn. I'm representing Sage from South Africa. Mother and myself are regional managers for accounting on the partner base. She's based in Kenya, I'm based from South Africa. So this is basically going to be a very interactive session, and I'm going to be, coming in between you guys now and again to make sure, well, more importantly, that you don't sleep, and as well just for your input, during this presentation. So please feel free to even raise your hand at whatever time and interrupt me if you need to have an understanding of what I'm saying. The world seems to be pushing towards everything that's cloud-based. If it's cloud-based, we're basically saying anything or any solution that you can basically access online. So we seem to be that kind of people now wherever we're going. We have our cell phones, we have WhatsApp, Facebook, emails, and so forth. And it seems to be how the world is working, and time seems to be less and less with each day. Imagine you're traveling from point A to point B, and you're stuck in traffic. 2 hours you're in traffic. Those 2 hours you can still make use of that time to do your work. And that is the reality of the world today. Wherever you are, whether you're in Africa or whether you are in Europe, the world today is constantly moving. I'm sure when we grew up, we used to sleep at 7 p.m. But now I'm quite sure most of us here, 7 p.m., we are still just basically getting home. Hence why Sage is trying to come up with ways where we're saying, we know and we understand that your business is getting faster and that the world is getting faster. And it's actually pretty hard for us to catch up with it. But what we're trying to do is put you in a position where you are able to at least keep up with what's happening in your business and keep up with what's happening in terms of the market, because you need to have your finger on the heartbeat of what's happening in the market. So without saying much more, I'll try and take you through presentation. And this first presentation that I'm taking you through is about partner accounting. Partner accounting is one of our small and startup business solutions. I usually don't prefer to say that, because if you say small and startup business, a lot of people think, but I'm not a small, or I'm not a startup business, or my business has been around for quite a while. So just a bit of background in respect to how Sage puts its product. We have small and startup, we have medium, and we have enterprise solutions. So how we basically say that is in terms of features and sometimes turnover, but more importantly, the features that you need. So if you're a startup business, usually you're starting to just get the hang of what's happening around business. You want to do your quotations professionally. You want to do your invoices. If you have stock, you want to record your stock. If you have a few transactions between your business and the bank, you want to make sure that you annotate those transactions and everything is recorded professionally for yourself, for your customers, and for your employees, and for any other stakeholders. So this is what makes us define which solution is perfect for which level, and I'll explain that more as I go on. So about Sage. Sage, we provide small and medium-sized organizations with a range of easy-to-use, secure, and efficient business management software and services, from accounting and payroll to enterprise resource planning, customer relationship management, and payments. So Sage used to be known back in the day as an accounting firm, and I think we're slowly moving away from calling ourselves that, because what we are becoming more is a business solutions company, strong in IT, a strong footprint in terms of marketing and knowing what's happening around the world. So we are becoming more and more, not just accounting, but accounting is the heart of what we do, no doubt. But most of what we are doing now is not just technology. I'm sure most of you can even attest to that any device that you're using now, or any application that you're using on your phone, is doing more than what it's meant to actually do. Do you agree? If you're on WhatsApp was invented to be a social media text between you and your brother, sister, friends, whatsoever. But now it's being used for business. Am I correct? So that's how solutions and applications are evolving, and the same goes for Sage, and we are also evolving in that manner. Our customers receive continuous advice and support through our global network of local experts to help them solve their business problems, giving them the confidence to achieve their business ambitions. We formed in 1981. Sage was floated on the London Stock Exchange in 1989 and entered the FTSE 100 in 1999. Sage has over 6 million customers, more than 13,400 employees in 25 countries across the whole world. So we are a big company, and this sort of information is usually, maybe you're thinking, well, why do we need to know that? I think that one of the most important things to me on a personal level is, if I'm doing business with anyone, I want to know your track record. I want to know what other people think about you. I want to know, the things that you think are your weaknesses. I want to know the things you think are your strengths. That way I can better make my decision to know that I'm here today and I'm starting my business. I'm just 25 years old. No, I'm not 25 actually. I look 25, but I'm not 25. But what I'm basically saying is, as I grow my business, I want to know that Sage is going to be there, maybe for the next 40, 50, 100 years. Even when I take over, when I give my business to my children and they give the business to their children's children, I want to know that I am still going to stay with the same consistent brand, because it hurts my business. Today I'm using Sage, the next day I'm using company B, the next day I'm using company C. I have no consistency in terms of my processes, and I have no consistency in terms of my delivery. Hence, this is why this little bit of information shows you where Sage is coming from and why we have put such a strong footprint in Africa. I mean, for Partner alone, we have over 120,000 users all across Africa. And this is independent companies. So that alone is telling us that we are moving towards the right direction, and we seem to be doing not so bad in terms of our influence to the market. The Sage Global Group, this is just a map of where Sage is situated, which is basically everywhere. Some of our existing customers, our major companies that we are dealing with, PwC, Ernst & Young, MTN, we have solutions running across from the one-man company all the way up to the enterprise global companies. So this just basically shows you that, yes, you might be here and you're thinking, my company is small, my company is big, my company is medium-sized. We have the perfect solutions for you, and you'll get the most of that as we go along. Is everyone hearing me clearly? Thank you. Okay, so one Sage, one customer. We are one company talking to one business about a portfolio of solutions to meet their business needs. If some of you have had an interaction with Sage and Sage consultants, you will learn that even in the crowd right now, I'm quite sure there are people who are interested in, who have had interaction with different products from Sage. Does that mean we represent ourselves differently? No. The one thing that we're driving to be is one Sage. And what one Sage basically means to us is we are speaking one brand, we are speaking one solution. And by one solution, we mean the Sage solution. So you can come to us and say today, guys, this is my business, I want to do A, B, C, D. And we say, oh no, this is the product that's right for you. And you can still come to us 2 years from now and say, guys, I think that product is not working anymore. It doesn't mean we gave you the wrong product. It just basically means your business requirements are growing, or maybe not growing, but changing depending on what's happening in the market. So right now, by changing, I'll also just give you a very small example. You have various people now working in the market away from the office, which basically means that their need for solutions that are flexible, that allow them to access away from the office, maybe away from internet or remotely, are becoming bigger than the usual. So hence why we are saying we are one business, one Sage, and we can give you solutions to cater for most, or if not all, of your business requirements. So what we have is Sage Startup Accounting Solutions. And what do we offer in terms of our accounting package? We offer flexible accounting software for startup and small businesses. Why we usually say flexible is because it's easier to understand. As you grow your business, or whatever level of business you are, depending, you could be a setup business, but you just haven't been using systems before. So that actually impacts the kind of solution that you adopt as a business, because imagine you haven't touched a phone and you're 50 years old. You're still going to need a bit of advice on how to, the concepts of using a phone. What is the ABCs of using a phone? I know it's a very poor example because most of us here have phones, and now our kids have access to phones. But in terms of solutions, even if you're a mature business in terms of you having been doing business for a while, it's a matter of concern to us if you don't have an existing system. And it may not mean just Sage, it could be any system. So that information usually helps us in understanding that, okay, you have a good appreciation of systems. What can we offer you in terms of complexity, in terms of features? Allow customers to control their business finance and income and expenses, to supply and stock management. I think the biggest concern for any business is to make money, right? That's what we get into business to. That's the only clear objective. If you're starting a business, the one thing you want to do is make money. The how, the when, everything else seems to just come after that. So we want to make sure that during that process, when you're making your money, you control your customers, your business finances, your income and expenses, suppliers, and stock management. I think you could be a consulting company, but what you offer is your stock, even though it's not physical. So this is why we have come up with these solutions to make sure that you're able to cater to your customers. Give your customers confidence, control, and scalability for their business. The one thing that we are trying to do is we want to ensure that the system works for you. We want to make sure that you have confidence in the system. You have confidence in the control and scalability of your business. So you basically see where your business stands and quite possibly where your business is going. Free up your time to focus on running your business and building running and building your business. So what we're basically trying to do is we did a little exercise of how long it actually takes you to do a few transactions. Say for example, you're not using Sage for quoting and for invoicing. Most of the small business or the typical business time use 80% of their time doing admin work. And imagine this, 80% of your time you're doing admin work. This is between you just trying to stack up some invoices or some quotations or trying to put together presentations, any admin work. But what do you think 80% of your time should be comprised of? 80% of your time in a business. What do you think you should be doing? This is the part that I start to get into the crowd. Please tell me, someone. 80% of your time as a business, what do you think you should be doing? Anybody? Somebody? Nobody? So should I answer myself? Okay. 80% of your time as a business you should be spending making money or doing something that's money or revenue generating. That's basically what we're saying, that you should be doing 80% of your time. But most businesses spend 80% of their time doing admin work. So you're usually just going around in circles and your business is not going anywhere. You're wondering, I've been in business for the last 5 years and I haven't even bought a motorbike. And the other guy has been in business for the last year and he's already driving a Land Cruiser. Where am I getting it wrong? Perhaps it's just that the one thing we've always done wrong as, and excuse me to say this, but I'm going to say it, as black businesses, is we think about the end goal before we think about the foundation. When you get into business, you think, okay, now I'm going to make money, I'm going to drive a car, I'm going to buy a house. But you don't have a system. You don't have anywhere where you're recording how much you're making in a month. You don't even have a clear view of your expenses. You don't know how much you're losing in terms of time. You have not monetized your time. You have not monetized your day. You have not monetized your ideas. You have not monetized anything that your business. You have not monetized your brand. We walk around and with other people, other company owners, everywhere you see them, they have their shirts branded, their shoes are branded, anything with them is branded. And we think that, do they just like their brand? But that's because subconsciously you, the customer, and anyone else they're seeing along the way is actually feeding into the brain. This is why we have this here. So you seeing this does more than what you think it's actually doing. So this is why most of our businesses are not doing as well as they can, because we don't have the right systems helping us along the way. Customers can be confident that they will get it right for their people and their business. The one thing that you need to make sure is always done right is communication between A and B. So if you're communicating with your customers, any documents, anything that you're going to be presenting to your customers should always be done accurately. Figures are accurate and the representation is also accurate. Ensure accurate, error-free and timely payroll for your customers. So what we have made one of our greatest tasks is to ensure that we introduce the use of payroll systems into the business world. The use of payroll systems has been seen to be of great advantage because most businesses in this age of 2017 should have a payroll package. You should be getting a payslip. You should be knowing how much the company is deducting from you. You should be knowing how much you're contributing to the government. Your company should be knowing what the legislation is in terms of how much do I pay people, in terms of how much are my taxes. What is the government saying that I must do as a business, bottom line. So all of this information, I'm sure most of us here, there could be no one in the crowd who actually knows what the payroll legislation for Tanzania is. But we know it. We've made sure we implemented it into our system, and it's automatic. Calculations for salaries, calculations for net pay, calculations for taxes, calculations for what we call legislative deductions. Those are the sort of taxes that you're paying to the government. All of this has been automatically calculated. So if presently your business does not have this, it might be a smart move to start thinking around how you can obtain a payroll system. We'll speak more about payroll in a separate presentation. So I was just mentioning the legislation and how you can be compliant to the legislation. We have taken it as part of our core business to actually ensure that you are compliant to the legislation, and our systems are also compliant to your local legislation, which is the Tanzania legislation. So what do you need? You need to manage your cash flow, your stock, your invoices, and your payments. These are the greatest things you need to manage as a business, because you're able to see, okay, how much do I have at any given time? The environment where we come from is a very demanding environment. In South Africa, I think that the day goes by the moment you wake up, and I mean that literally. So at any given time, you should have a clear view of what your business. My manager can come to me at any time and say, Glenn, how much are we going to make this month? Or how much have we made? Or how much do you think we'll make in the next 3 months? This sort of information is vital for running a business. And at any given point, any business should know this information. Because remember, the whole reason why all of us wake up to come to work is to make money. Forget everything else that you do. The one reason we wake up is to make money. And most of how we are engineering our solutions is based on helping you and equipping you with the best ways to do that. And it doesn't mean that automatically from you purchasing one of our solutions, you're automatically rich, but you're certainly taking the right step in making sure you're equipped, you have the right equipment. This is what we are constantly preaching. Have the right equipment to make sure that you're doing business right and you're going towards the right direction. To navigate tax compliance, I just spoke about that as well. So you don't have to worry that I don't know anything about my taxes. We have made our systems, both our systems, I mean, in terms of partner accounting and payroll, all of them are compliant with what is required in the local legislation, which is the Tanzania legislation. To automate calculations and manage my books, all of this. So you can imagine your income and expenditure. Back in the day, you needed an accountant. If there are any accountants in the room, I apologize. I'm not attacking you. But what I'm basically saying is you could not do business without an accountant, because you needed someone to say, okay, you received $10 and you paid $2 towards tomatoes and you paid $2 towards salaries and so forth. And they needed to do the breakdown for you. This solution does not require that. As you transact in your business, as you're receiving payments, as you're sending out payments to your creditors, as you receive payments from your debtors, the system is automatically creating an income and expenditure for you. It's automatically creating your cash book, your trial balance, and so forth. So all of this becomes information that is auto-calculated and auto-set up for you as a business. And the only thing that you will need to do is basically then require that accountant to just verify the information for you in case there's anywhere where you might have done a wrong post. But over and above that, the system automatically does calculations for you. Access to timely, accurate information and reporting from any device to help manage cash flow and financial reporting. Again, information is power. Imagine a situation where at any time, like I mentioned earlier, you're able to know how much your business actually has. Right now, you can say, I want to know how much I've made since the 1st of October, and that information is ready for you. You can say, I want to know how much expenses have I incurred, and am I likely to incur due to historical data. All of this information is available for you. This is how we run our business. We basically say, okay, so in the last financial year, we made this much, and our costs were this much, and our costs were in that area. So you're able to say, okay, so if I spent a lot of money traveling, maybe I need to cut down on my traveling, or I need to cut down on the airline I used to travel, or the bus I used to travel, and so forth. Then you can arrange where you eat and so forth, because you have specific details of where it is exactly that you're spending your money. If it's fuel, then you can say, okay, let me park my Land Cruiser and let me get a little Toyota Yaris because it's a 1.2 liter, it takes less in fuel. So these are decisions that you need to be able to make at any step of your business, because they're instant, and instant decisions are able to then, move your business into a different direction, and a better direction. So this is information that is important to you. And a lot of people will be like, reports are boring, but reports are what makes business, because you're basically getting a view of where your business stands. I usually say reports are opening your grocery cabinet. I mean, for the women in the house, they probably will understand. So you can see in 5 seconds, okay, I have no sugar, salt, and I need to get more sugar, I need to get more oil, and so forth. In an instant, you're able to plan your day. So already you know, okay, I need to pass through the grocery store, I need to do A, B, C, D. And the same goes for our accounting package. If you have no view of what's happening financially in your business in terms of income, expenditure, revenue, cash flows, you really don't know where your business is going. So this is one of the reasons why you need this package. To stay compliant and in line with local legislation and regulations, I'll come back to this again, and it seems to be popping up. This is the reason why a lot of business end up in trouble with the authorities, because you're registered as a business but you're not submitting your taxes. You're registered as a business but you're not paying your employees correctly in terms of their employee brackets or what the legislation permits as minimum salaries and so forth. So all of this information is done. All of you today, you can use it as part of your homework. Just go home and Google Tanzania payroll legislation. It will give you the legislation and what it says, and you can apply it in your own scenario and think, okay, have I been doing this? If I'm a business owner, if I'm an employee, has my business been doing this? Because imagine paying 20 people, hell, even 5 people, and you have to calculate leave for these people, you have to calculate their off days, you have to calculate their commission, you have to calculate their sick days, all of that at one go. And 9 out of 10 times you're going to get it wrong. And this is the reason why we are strong on legislation, because the system is built in a way where it already caters this for you. Peace of mind, timely, accurate insight. Again, if you have access to the reporting in the system, to the transactions in the system, you have peace of mind and you know that everything that's within your system is accurate. There's nothing that's annoying as thinking, okay, so I have 100,000 in the bank according to my system. When you do actually go to the bank, you see that you've got 5,000 in there because the system is reporting things inaccurately, or because you're doing your transactions manually. So this is why it's important for your business to have a system, and I will continuously, you can even make sure that you start with the smallest and maybe insignificant type of systems, but the most important thing is make sure that you're recording your transactions somewhere. Scalability for my future growth. So as I mentioned earlier, One Sage, we are basically saying we have all the solutions for you despite where you're starting and despite where you're going. If you're growing as a business, I mentioned you need consistency, because consistency is aligned with your brand. It's aligned with how you present your product. It's aligned with how you present your offering. So consistency is key, and we offer you scalability, and you are able to ensure that you grow within the same family of products. More insight to be better informed, to stay up to date with regulations and compliance, help me keep abreast of the rapidly changing industry. You will notice that most of our solutions will receive updates along the way. In a year, we can update maybe 2 or 3 times. Excuse me. And the reason why we do that, we're just not doing that for the sake of it, is because the market is changing. The requirements of the market is changing. And you as a business person, as an employee, business owner, it's not your job to keep abreast with what's happening in the market. It's our job, because this is why we offer these solutions to you. And the reason we offer these solutions to you is so that you know what needs to be done. And you concentrate, remember, on that 80% that I spoke about earlier, that you need to spend 80% of your time generating revenue for your business. Everyone, I will attest to this. In our institution, everybody from the CEO down to whoever is the least person in terms of rank, everyone knows when they get back, when they go to work, the one thing on their mind is revenue and how you can generate it, because that's how we need to keep businesses alive. If we're doing anything else between our time, then we are incorrectly assigning our time to things that really don't matter. 80% of your time as a business, no matter where you work, should be based in things that are revenue generating. To pay my people on time and accurately. If you don't have a payroll system, you in most cases are going to get your payroll wrong, for one. 2, you're going to get the dates wrong, and you're going to release your payments late, and because of the calculations that you need to do, our payroll package ensures that you pay people on time. And in the world where we come from, I don't know whether you guys world has debit orders. Do you guys do debit orders in Tanzania? No debit orders. You don't do debit orders. As in every day. Okay, from my world, the school fees for my children comes off my account automatically. My rent comes off automatically. Most of how I live my life comes off automatically off my account. Now you can imagine a scenario where my company pays me late or the wrong day, because I would have agreed with my creditors that, okay, listen guys, I'll pay my child's school fees on the 25th. So on the 25th you can take your money. And this includes every other person that I transact with to conduct my life. So if those payments, or if my one payment which I depend on comes late, it has jeopardized my life completely, because everyone else who I'm working with is going to be paid late as well. And that is just a scenario that you don't want to expose yourself to. So this is why we are talking about the importance of paying people on time. So what you see here is what we call the Advantage Pack. I've been speaking to you about partner accounting and partner advantage. Why advantage? Advantage basically means that was our first step to putting part of the package onto the cloud. So most of our packages now, despite which package you have access to, if it's partner, it's partly desktop, it's partly cloud. If it's Evolution, it's partly desktop, it's partly cloud. If it's Sage 1, it's 100% cloud-based. So what we're doing now is, in cognizance of the fact that the market is changing and how you need to work is also changing, we have come up with what we call the Advantage Pack. Mobility, what we're basically saying is you will have an app on your phone or your tablet or whatever device that you use on a personal level, and you will have an app that gives you access to your accounting system. So it will give you access to quotations, it will give you access to invoices, it will give you access to prices, it will give you access to stock, it will give you access to customer accounts. Imagine a scenario where you're conducting a sale with a client. Mr. Customer, I'm selling this bottle of water. How much is this bottle of water? I go to my phone and I say, it's 50 cents. Okay, I like this bottle of water. Send me a quotation. I can literally create that customer account right there on my phone and send the customer a quote. And they say, you know what? I actually like this bottle of water. Let me pay you. Invoice me for this bottle of water. And then you create an invoice right there and there on your phone. So you can imagine this is something that you'd have said, okay, let me quote you when I go back to the office. 2 hours worth of traffic going back to the office. You get to the office, your manager says, wait, just do this little action for me. By the time you're done doing that little action for your manager, you send your quotation to your client 2 hours later. Maybe the day is already done. They see it tomorrow. They then make their decision. They get back to you. What we are trying to do is make the decision-making process and the sales process as small as possible. So remember, at the end of the day, money, 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 money. So the idea is to close a sale in the smallest time possible. And this may not be directly meant for the businesses who are in direct sales, but in any environment of your specific business, the application works for you because you can access it for different information at different times of the day and for different reasons. So that's why we have mobility. And then we have Sage Online tools. Today, how most of us access information is through our phone and through Google. If I was to ask anything that you don't know right now, 9 out of 10 of us are going to go into our phone and go into Google, and you're going to look for the answer. So what 83% of today's market, how they consume their products, is through websites, and internet-based information. If you want to buy a fridge, you look for the best place where you can find the fridge and the cheapest price. And I'm not saying this is what you're doing, but I'm saying this is what the bulk of the market is doing. So we have taken light of that, and we have created a website package called Sage Online Tools. So I'll explain that a little bit, and I'll explain that a bit more much later when I give you a Sage Online Tools presentation. The customer needs to know, okay, what really have I done with you this month? And how can I pay you? So Online Customer Zone allows your customer access to your accounting package. And when I say access to your accounting package, I don't mean they see everything. No, they just see their debtors account. So if I'm Glenn and my company that I'm dealing with has opened a Glenn account, I will only see Glenn transactions. So I'll see the codes, I'll see the invoices, I'll see my payments, I'll see my amounts due, and I can even pay based on what I'm owing. So if I'm owing an invoice for 1,000, I can say right now I have 500. I just want to pay 500 towards that specific invoice. And you can do that through the Online Customer Zone. In South Africa, we have already automated it, so you can click a Pay Now button and it will take you through a checkout process which allows you to enter in your debit card details, and it sends money to the business. Here, it's still partly manual because we have not done the agreements with the banks yet, but your customers will have a full view of the statement. So your customer will never say, no, I didn't receive the statement and I don't know how much I'm owing you, because they have access to the Online Customer Zone, which gives them full information regarding their transactions with you. Okay, so this are also some of the features that we've added with version 17, which was launched last year. And I'm sure when you were just sitting, to some of you who came much earlier, you saw a video which was constantly playing. That's our version 18. I apologize, it was written Sage 50C because we have not officially launched it in Africa. It was officially launched in the UK, but in Africa we haven't officially launched it, so we couldn't change the branding. But that video which you were seeing is now version 18, but most of what I'm showing you now is the current version, and we are launching version 18 on the 18th of October. So when you purchase this package, just a side note, you will automatically be upgraded to version 18 when we launch it in a week's time. So you won't be disadvantaged by saying, okay, I've purchased version 17, what's going to happen with version 18? And just to explain more, what we offer now with our products is they have an obligation or an annual renewal, which is a small fraction of the amount that you actually buy. Why have we done that? Because every time we release a package, any upgrade that you do not pay for that upgrade. Any improvements that we do to the system, you don't pay for those those improvements. You basically download the upgrade and you install the upgrade. So hence why I'm saying with version 17, if you do so purchase it within the next week, when we do our release, our official Africa release of version 18 on the 18th of October, you will then have more of the features that are on that video, which I will play later on and explain a little bit in terms of the features that version 18 is going to have. So what we changed, or what's also new with our Partner Advantage version 17 is backup date stamp. We never used to have a date stamp, so you could back up and it's just going to keep the file. But now when you do a backup, it will have a date stamp, time and date stamp. So you could literally go to your backups and look for a specific day and look for a specific time where you did a backup. We now have a favorites option. So for those who work and do certain things, you don't want to have access to the whole accounting package and get lost all the time. You could simply say, I do invoices, I do quotations, and I do credit notes. That's all I do. And you can simply create a favorites option where you put those specific tasks in there, and that becomes all you basically get to use. You still have access to the rest of the system, but this basically just helps you work faster and work more efficient. We have Forms Assistant. What Forms Assistant basically does is it allows you to manipulate your forms, your codes, your invoices, and you can have your own branding on the forms, your codes, your invoices, credit notes, and so forth. Scheduled invoicing. So if you have repeat business with certain customers who you bill the same amount at each turn of the month, you can activate scheduled invoicing. Scheduled invoicing basically says, I deal with Glenn every month, and my billing to Glenn is the same every month. So I will release an invoice to Glenn every month at a particular day. So I will set up what we call scheduled invoicing. So you don't have to go and recreate that invoice all over again and input and then send it to the customer. What scheduled invoicing will say is, everyone who I have repeat business with, who I quote the same or I invoice the same amount of money every month, this is the amount, and I will schedule that invoice. So each month, or at whatever turn or cycle you have agreed with your customer, whether quarterly, monthly, half year, it will automatically create that invoice and release the invoice to the customer who you have scheduled or agreed to have repeat business with. My customer zone, I spoke about it. This is a billing and statement web portal. It allows your customers to have access to their billing, their statement, their transactions online. So imagine what you actually get to do is you create a little website for yourself and send a link to your customer. So at any time, the customer can click on that link and it will refresh and show their customer details, and it will show their transactions, and it will give them an option to pay specific invoices. Mobility, I mentioned that's you having access to your accounting package on an app on your mobile phone. Sage Online Tools, this is a website platform that we recommend each of you should actually start getting interest in. I'll speak more about Sage Online Tools a little later in a different presentation. And Online Help. Online Help, it gives you access to within or in the system assistance. So you just click a button and you will get assistance, because what Online Help is a library of information that is stored within the system, and it also gives you access to support to a Sage consultant. So when you click the button, it gives you access to a Sage consultant who you can chat online with, and you can get access to assistance and support immediately. Restoring the wrong backup is something from the past. This is now just about the backdate stamp. No duplicate backup files taking up space on your machine, and this is what it kind of looks like. Favorites option, quick access to your favorite window in Sage, up to 15 favorites per user. And this is how you basically go about it. You create a little favorites, and you can put the features or functions that you need to access in most cases. My customer zone, you can find quotes, view invoices, view statements, change customer details. You also have access to codes, view invoices, view statements, change customer details. My customer zone, and this is where you actually get to do the setup. Everything here that you see here is web-based. I think if we have time later on, I'll just open the package for you and show you what it actually looks like within the software. This is what my customer zone will look like. Welcome to my customer zone. You will have an admin login. So this is the link that you send out to the customer. They click this and they can create their own login details. When they log in, they'll be able to view their transactions, their invoices, their quotations, and know what to pay. We're actually working on the agreement to enable automatic payment within East Africa. So maybe you can even use your M-Pesa to make a payment. This hasn't been done yet, but we are in development and we are working with the authorities to make sure that we get access to doing that. This is just a sample of what it looks like. So you will be seeing transactions, and you can even break down at each line. So at any line item, you can say, for this transaction, I want to see what that text invoice was for, and I want to see what the line items were on the text invoice as well. Mobility gives you access to codes, and remember, mobility is the application that you get to put on your phone. It gives you access to codes, invoices, inventory balances, customer contact details, and it also enables you to actually create the codes, create invoices, create customers. And what this does is, when you do it, it will then push the data to your desktop sitting in the office via the cloud. So we have what we call connected services. Maybe I can just explain a little bit, because perhaps some of you have actually wondered, okay, so if I have my desktop solution, how does that information go to the cloud? We created what we call connected services. Connected services is a way that which any information sitting on a desktop here is connected via the internet to give you access to that information remotely, or to also give the customer access to that information, or yourself. So connected services has created applications like your Sage Online Tools, Mobility, Customer Zone. All of these are Sage connected services applications, which gives you access to the system remotely or from the internet. So this is mobility, access from the phone. Put your customers first, dedicated stock store, code order, invoice, customize your codes, and all this can be done through mobility. Online help, you can have a login, and you can also subscribe to a newsletter, and this gives you access to instant support and information about how you can get help. Can be accessed by striking on F1 while in the solution. That gives you access to online help. So now this is Forms Assistant. Create a professional looking document in easy 3 steps. Choose a color, choose a template, insert your logo, finalize your selection, and this is what your form will basically look like. So it will give you access to putting your logo, your details, payment details at the bottom, and your customer information right there. So this is basically the first part with regards to my presentation for accounting. And I think we'll break